I am, as I said, the Schroeder Fellow in Art, and I am was honored enough to travel out to Massachusetts near Boston in a small town, Clinton. I stayed actually in Worcester, and which, as a sort of rural farm boy from Wisconsin, was was unusual, but I realized that it's pretty much the same thing. The museum is located in Clinton, as you can see, 45 minutes outside of Boston. The museum began when Gordon Langton, the founder, was told by his wife that there was no more room left in his house for icons, so he created this multi-million-dollar complex. So that's what I would do. And the museum houses the Center of Icon Studies and its current fellow, Raoul Smith, who I was working with this summer. My project was looking at this icon primarily, but also its sister icons from a northern area of Russia. The icon depicts a sort of a classic scene found in Russian Orthodoxy as well as Greek Orthodoxy, in which between the resurrection of Christ and his death, there's a descension to hell in which he sort of liberates the souls who have been stuck there for many thousands of years. And what's unusual about this project in 17th century Russia in general is that we have a schism in the church in which some of the old believers broke off from the church. And it's really an incredible sort of examination of how we have different ideas of what reality really is and how we express those ideas. I had some secondary tasks. As you can see, the research library was my stomping ground, and so I made sure to keep it clean. Some of my research methods. I was looking at fascinating pictures like this. I don't want to explain them any more than that. They were taken from a database out of Oxford. And I was also reading and looking at different works, primary sources, such as you see to the left. I was looking at a lot of sermons that were coming out of Ukraine around 1650, as well as looking at a lot of sort of the history of what exists in the doctrine of Eastern Orthodoxy as well as Christianity and Catholicism, how it gets to be there and how that was decided. So reading a lot of apocryphal texts and so forth. In the end, we sort of connected the development of these particular demons. As you can see, one's getting poked in the eye there, that hurts, and we have a few of them around. And you can see right here, this is actually a depiction of Hellmouth, who is sort of the embodiment of hell. Actually seems like a very pleasant figure, except that there's a head coming out of his head. The sermons, as well as these writings of the old believers, as well as some of their pastors or the equivalent, were speaking about the corruption of the Tsardom in Russia, and looking at and how they believe that if there was a certain amount of any sort of if they ever were to meet in the physical world, they would also be corrupted by this. And so we were finding accounts of complete villages sort of destroying themselves in hopes of saving them their spiritual lives. And this is one of the icons we believe was a part of this doctrine, and the doctrine of sort of the Tsarist Orthodoxy being corrupted by the Antichrist, which is super interesting stuff. And what came of this, I'll be flying out to Boston on this time the museum's ticket and presenting with Raoul Smith about our topic on a panel looking at demonography in general in Russian icons. I mean, as a co-authorship, but the amount I was able to interact with the staff at the museum, the donors, and as well as people from Brown and Harvard and all these different places who are coming to the museum as a resource was incredible, and it was really useful. And the sort of professionalness required to talk with these Russian cultural diplomats that were coming through was of particular interest to me, because I believe that this study, the reason that I find studying art history and art in general important is because a lot of the ideas we have about culture and the bigotry that comes out of them come from a misunderstanding of their cultural ideas, the religious ideas, and how they see reality. And so I feel that was really my job there, was to resurrect the appropriate understanding, as well as trying to work as an ambassador for Cornell College. Of course, as some of the things I just mentioned, that's another image of some of the devil manuscripts from like 13th and 14th century in Western Europe. And I plan on applying to graduate school soon after graduating here and pursuing a doctorate in art history. I'd like to thank Sam and Bridget Schroeder, who I wish they could be here, but it was really quite an opportunity as well. Morris Pengech, as well as Ann Raoul Smith. Thank you very much.